Today on Josh Paints, we will be showing you guys how to make a panel. We have built this panel as you can see. So we made up this panel out of just a flat sheet of aluminum. This is gonna go on our cab over. We drilled all the holes already, and I went ahead and primed both sides of it so that way we don't have corrosion issues popping through where the huck holes are. A lot of times on like your Peterbilts and stuff, your corrosion starts by coming through the back side through the huck holes, and that's really hucked up. So we go ahead and seal it all off so that way it kind of prevents it a little bit longer. Because it's inevitable, it's gonna corrode. It's just gonna happen with what they spray on today's roads in the wintertime. I mean, So where the handle was mounted, it's all smashed in. I don't know how it got smashed in. Normally everything pulls out from people climbing up and down, pulling on the handle. I'm gonna assume something hit the side of this at some point. So we're gonna try and pull that back out. And we're just gonna use a little slide hammer, because I don't feel like taking all this apart and making a new door jamb, because this is all one piece that goes around the door jamb. It may not look very pretty now, but it'll be fine. I got everything fairly straight, so now all this ugly will get covered by a panel. But I know somebody's gonna wonder, well, how are you gonna reattach your handles with that huge hole that's broken out there? Well, that's where you gotta get kind of creative with these old trucks, and honestly with even newer trucks when you're trying to fix things like this. Let me explain. So they're all broken out, and I already straightened them all. What I think I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make a thin strip of aluminum that I'm gonna lay up here, drill all the holes to line up, and then there's a gap down here and I can actually pull this out a little bit. So I'm gonna slide a piece of aluminum up behind there as like a big washer, and then everything will pull tighter and I'll be able to put my inserts back in that hole. The light panel painted today. It's not quite dry. The trailer is still up in the air. We got pretty much everything wired and hooked up. We already set the trailer down, made sure the pins would go in with my cutouts back here and everything, so that way the back end could slide back further. I think it's looking really good. I mean, great. We still got to zip tie and clean up our hose mess. As you can see, it is a mess as of right now. This is all just thrown in here. Some of these are too long. They need to be cut down and everything, but it's kind of what happens when you're doing test fitting and making sure everything fits, running hoses this way and that way. I like to leave things a little extra long. A lot of those aren't even hooked up. They're just ran to where they need to be. So we'll run them properly next week and try and get this thing wrapped up. We got basically a day and a half left to work on this thing, and it needs to be on the road. So we got a lot of work to do. A lot of work. These two airlines here hanging out the front need to be ran up there. We're gonna put two hookups there. Even though we're gonna have them in the back and he's always planning on hooking up back there, we just like to have everything that it can be hooked up either way. And a lot of guys don't have these two little airlines, so that's why I'm drawing some attention to them. Let me explain what they're for. They run all the way to the back here, and one goes to the front axle and one goes to the back axle, and we have an extra load gauge in the truck. So that way we can see how much air pressure is in each axle on the bags. That way you can kind of gauge how much weight you have in the box. So like if you see how much air pressure it is and you roll over a cat scale or something and you figure out how much your trailer weighs, then you can gauge it that way from there out, and you don't have to scale anymore. So that way you know if you're loaded just right or just right. Inside the box here, everything's ran like I said, just not hooked up. Look at Zach's clean wiring. I'm gonna have to teach him to cut them a little shorter as you come back so you don't have to loop as many in here and make it fit. It's kind of tight in here, but that's all good. These will get mounted up on the roof like that. That one goes on that side, and then we're gonna put a panel that's gonna come like this, back and in, so that way as the driver, Arlen, throws his stuff in here, which he has a lot of stuff. he doesn't accidentally knock anything off or ruin anything. And then we got our little box right there that has all of our valves and everything in it, so that way it'll be sealed up. It's separate from everything else. Keep it nice and clean. Nothing will ever go in there other than what's in there now. And the only time you open that box lid is when there's a problem. And usually that's not a good thing. So there you go. Our sealed glass watermelon lights, this is the new style sealed ones where it has like the push in and turn type bulb in there. It's supposed to be 100% sealed, so that's why I felt okay putting it on a flat panel. Otherwise, I would have probably put it on an angle, or like we did on Justin Fall's trailer, which I believe I showed a pretty in-depth video on that. We put them in a turn signal pod, like this right here. We put all of his underglow in a pod like this, and then stuck it out, shining down. Fuel tank is fully mounted. Everything's hooked up to it. The extra wires and cords and hoses and stuff hanging on the ground there, that's nothing to do with the fuel tank. It's ready to put fuel in and test fire the reefer, make sure it runs right. I don't know, when things sit around for too long, it makes me leery. But we're gonna get that fired up probably Monday morning, and then we need to pick up the split unit because this is a multi-temp, and I don't know if we're gonna mount it or if we're gonna let the trailer place mount it. That's gonna hook up like all the copper lines and everything. I don't do any of that, and they'll get it all working right. Due to the fact that we're not gonna be using this as a slider, I was able to just mount our stainless steel fuel tank straps right to the slider, which was super easy, super nice. And from the outside, then it looks really seamless and clean with that beauty panel we put under there. So after this is all lowered down on here, it looks really clean. I mean, spectacular, magnificent, all those big words. Now, this is not the best bracket system to use on quarter fenders for a trailer, I get that, but they're really easy and simple to change out if you have problems. Like, there's so often there's stuff on the road that ends up dinging, denting them, twisting them. We're able to just slap them, take them off and slap a new set on real easy. What we do is we drill a hole right here and put a 3/8 bolt through, so that way they don't turn. I see a lot of guys with quarter fenders on that are tweaked or twisted because those clamps never hold them proper. And there's not enough space to double clamp these ones. So if you just drill a hole through and put a 3/8 stainless bolt in, we use a carriage bolt, super clean, don't have to worry about it. We're only missing one nut. 2 nuts, 3 nuts. Oh yeah, duh, we're missing a package of nuts. Boy, I'm slow sometimes.
I know.
There's really too much going on here for me to explain everything. So, and we're not fully finished with it. So hopefully next week when it's totally done, I can get it on the ground, have all the lights on, do a walk around, do a final reveal, talk about the top rail, the bottom rail, how we ran the wire harness, a little bit of this, a little bit of that, do a more in-depth video on this. I just figured I'd throw this one up there on YouTube's so that way you guys can see that I am still working, because it's been like a month since I posted a video. I'm still working. On the cab over, I got the panel primed on both sides that we made up. I like to prime them on both sides so it helps with the corrosion. There's still a lot of work to do on this before it's ready for paint. But we did get carpet thrown in and a new seat. Passenger seat did not arrive yet. Not much is going on that right now because all of our attention is focused on that trailer to get it done. So it is what it is. We're at a dead stop on that one until this one's gone. So, and this one's gonna be gone next week if everything goes to plan. So we'll be hitting that one pretty hard again. And I don't have any big projects lined up to go alongside that. Like these 2 big projects right here are taking up all my time and energy. So I'll be able to make some more videos on that, which will be great.